Dear brothers and sisters, we all know that there are many things that we do on a daily basis which become a habit for us. Habits that have taken a long time to be a part of our life. Habits, even if we are told that they're not good for us, we continue to be doing things in that manner. We all know the scientists have been telling us that drinking alcohol and smoking are both bad for our health. But there are millions and millions of people all around the globe who indulge in those activities. After realizing that something could be dangerous for us, we still keep on going on a track because others are also going on the track. Scientists look at various other species to be able to gain insight into the human behavior. So there was a scientist who was an expert in caterpillars. There is a kind of caterpillar which goes in a straight line for long periods of time. The caterpillar just keeps on following a leader, and the line just keeps on going on and on and on. So this scientist wanted to find out about the behavior of the caterpillar so that he could find ways and means by which to help humanity. So he took a flower pot, he put one caterpillar on the rim of the flower pot, and he took another one and put it behind it, and took a third one, and put that behind it, took a fourth one and put that behind it, and filled up the whole rim so that each caterpillar were touching each other. Now, as the caterpillar started to move, they moved in unison, and they were moving round and round and round. This went for many hours, and none of the caterpillars came off the rim. They're going on and on and on. So the scientists thought, let me see what happens if I give them some food. Because they have to get hungry after a while. So in the middle of the flower pot, after many hours of the caterpillar going round and round, he put some food for them. And he started to see what would happen. An hour went by, a few hours went by, a whole day went by, but all the caterpillars going back and on the rim, round and round and round. None of them went for the food. One day went by, a second day went by, and now they're getting weaker. And so for 7 days, they were going round and round and round. But none of them came down to eat, to nourish themselves. And then one of the caterpillars passed away and he fell. So the others kept on going round and round. Then a second one fell, and a third one fell, and a fourth one fell. But the ones who were alive did not go down to eat the food which was put right there for them to be nourished. And as we look at this example, this is what happens to us human beings too. We have the eternal nourishment which will fulfill us. Saints and mystics have been telling us over the ages that everything that we need out of this life is within ourselves. All the joys, all the happiness, all the peace, states of bliss are all within ourselves. But what do? We don't partake of them. We keep our attention focused in the world outside. So it's become a habit to be focused on the world outside, because we feel that whatever we are experiencing through our physical senses is what there is. And so as human beings, whatever we see with these eyes, that's what we take for real. Whatever we hear through these ears, we take for real. Whatever we experience through our other senses of touch, taste and smell, we think that that is all life is all about. And so all of our life then is spent in that arena. All of these senses are taking our attention and putting it into the world outside. We are not realizing that what is needed by our real self, our soul, is within ourselves. We're not realizing that what gives us joy and peace, which is eternal, is all within ourselves. And so we've gotten the habit of getting up in the morning and running to work and being involved with activities there and coming back home and relaxing and being entertained and then be involved in whatever we feel will give us happiness. So how does one break a habit which is not good for us? The first thing that we have to understand is that there needs to be a desire for us to look at our habits. Most people feel that they are living in the best manner that they can. They don't even realize that how they live is not good for them. So first there needs to be a desire to take a good look at how we lead our lives. And as we start to look at our habits, then we need to find ways and means of being able to focus our attention within, take it away from the world outside. To be able to do that, we need to fix a time during the day at which we are going to be able to focus on the arena of eternal bliss. That arena is within ourselves. So unless we fix a time at which we are gaining these insights into our true self, into eternal joy and peace, we would be involved in other activities of the world outside. Then we need to set a place where we would be going in this direction. So any place in the house, wherever we live, is a good place, but if we take either a corner in the house or a room in the house or a chair in which we try to go within ourselves, and if we fix that, then during the day, whenever we'll pass through that area, when we look at that chair, we'll remember that we need to sit down in silence. And then, as we have found a place to sit in, and the time for which we want to sit, then we need to do the activity. As we sit down to meditate, as we sit down to go within, because meditation is a word used for us being able to connect with the inner regions. Those are the spiritual regions which are within ourselves. So as we get to that state, then we need to be sure that the practice that we do is done properly. If we're asked to close our eyes and make sure that there's no pressure on the forehead or any part of the body, then we need to be totally relaxed. If we're asked to repeat the name of God mentally, then we need to do that properly. If we're asked to keep our focus right in front of us, focus 8 or 10 inches in front of us, then we need to do that. So we need to do the practice properly. And as we do that, it might take us a few days to be able to fine-tune our practice. Every day we'll be doing the practice better and better. And so we'll get to a state where right in front of us we'll connect with the divine light and sound of God. And as that happens, then we will realize that as we sit down to meditate on a daily basis and make it a habit, something that we need to do, that the joys of being with the divine power within are such that life gets to be fulfilling. Then there's joy in any activity that we do. Because once the soul is fulfilled, then everything around us gets to be happy, gets to be loving, gets to be calm, gets to be peaceful. And that is the state that we want to be in. Saints and mystics have also talked about many helping factors as we go on the spiritual journey. Factors that help us develop new habits. Many of us might not realize it, but we are very violent in our interactions with others. We get angry very, very quickly. When things happen that we don't expect, we let the other person know. Violence can be in thoughts, because we're thinking, why did this person do this to me? Or why didn't this happen? It goes on and on and on. It could be in words, because we want to let the person know that they did something wrong or not what we expected of them. And sometimes violence can be physical, because we're unable to control our anger and we go after the person who we think did us wrong. So we need to make a habit of not being violent. We need to put non-violence in our life. That comes with practice. That comes with giving time to our interactions. Most of us respond very quickly to any stimulus that we have, because we feel that we know the whole situation. So we might just know a part of it and we think we know the whole situation, and then we interact accordingly. So we should give ourselves some time to be able to get a good judgment call on what the situation is like. Then a response would be much, much kinder, much, much nicer. We should also realize that we are held accountable for every thought, word and deed. So anything which is a violence in thought, word or deed that comes from us, we'll have to pay for it. As we start to understand this karmic principle, then we will be able to lead a life in which the thoughts are peaceful, they're loving, they're kind, in which the words are peaceful, they're loving and they're kind, in which actions are peaceful, and they're loving and kind actions. Another characteristic that the saints and mystics talk about, that we need to inculcate to be able to truly be happy, is the characteristic of humility. Many of us let our ego get the better of us. Many of us want to show others that we know more than them. They may be more wealthier than them. Maybe we are more knowledgeable than them. And it is our ego which brings duality into our life. To be able to experience life at its fullest, we need to live in unity. We need to find a oneness with the Creator, we need to find a oneness with everyone else who lives on this planet. And so it's the trait of humility that we need to inculcate in our being. That takes practice. Because generally in life, as we go into the workforce, there's always some people who we feel are above us and some people who feel are below us. That's how the structures are set up. And so when we look at our life, we're always nicer to the people who are above us and we look down on the people who we think are below us. So one needs to be working on oneself to get to a state where we deal with everyone equally, realizing that maybe at work there are different levels, but in the family of the Creator, we're all brothers and sisters, we're all one and the same. As we start to focus in that arena, then we can make a habit of being very kind and being very loving and caring to everyone that we meet, irrespective of what their social status is. Also, the saints talk about the characteristic of selfless service. Many people go through this life just trying to gain for themselves. We think if we have more, we'll be better off. If we have more, our life would be better. If we have more, we'll be happier. But it doesn't work like that. Whatever we've accumulated in this life, nothing goes with us. At the time of death, everything remains here. So what goes with us is how did we lead our lives? Were we helping to someone else? Did we relieve the pain of someone else? Did we make the environment better? And those are the traits that we need to have. We help someone for reward for ourselves, that's not selfless service. Selfless service is helping someone because we want to help them, because we want their life to be better. And when we do that, what happens is that there's calmness, there's peacefulness in our life. When we take someone else's share, there's always tension within ourselves. Inside of us, we know we did something wrong, but we keep on doing it because it's become a habit. So we need to make it a habit that we are very equitable with everyone, that we are helpful to others, that we're not running all over someone else. And as we start to make it a habit to focus in this arena, we'll find that as we sit down to be able to partake of the divine treasures which are within ourselves, it'll be much easier for us to reap the spiritual rewards. The two primal manifestations of God, the divine light and the divine sound of God, are reverberating within each and every one of us. As we collect our sensory currents here at the seat of the soul, we're able to partake of the divine treasures. We go on a spiritual journey. The journey of a soul, the journey which has a soul not only connect with God, but be able to finally merge back in God, so that we are in a state which is eternally happy, which is eternally joyous, which is eternally fulfilling, which is eternally blissful. Wherever there's God, there's no pain, Wherever there is God, there is no difficulty. Wherever there is God, there is only happiness and joy. And we all can attain that state. We need to look at how we are leading our lives. We need to look at our habits. Those habits which are taking us away from God, we need to get them out of our system. We need to inculcate new habits, those habits which bring us closer to God. Sant Rajinder Singh Maharaj would often say that which brings us close to God is good. It's good for us. And that what takes us away from God is bad for us. So we need to do those activities, or we need to be involved with those activities, which are good for us, which are good for us eternally. We all have an opportunity to be one with God. The human body has been called the roof and crown of all creation. So let us make the best use of it so that the very purpose for which our soul, which is our real self, has been given, this human existence, would be fulfilled. So let us meditate for a few minutes. Please sit as comfortably as you can. Close your eyes very gently. Your eyeballs should be straight. They should be focused 8 or 10 inches in front of you. And as you close your eyes, those of you who have been initiated in the mysteries of the beyond, please do your Simran. And those of you who are new here, please repeat any name of God that you feel comfortable with. The repetition of God's name should be done mentally and not out loud. I pray to God Almighty and to the three great spiritual masters of the past century, Hazur Baba Sawan Singh Ji Maharaj, Param Sant Gopal Singh Ji Maharaj, and the gracious spiritual master Sant Darshan Singh Ji Maharaj, to help each and every one of us connect with the divine light within and to experience it in its effulgence. We'll be sitting for a few minutes. I'll be getting you out of this meditative state, and my best wishes are with each and every one of you. Please leave off. छोड़ दीजिए जी.